What's up, guys? Second Survival here. Welcome back to another video. So 2XKO just dropped their Alpha Lab 2, and I was lucky enough to not only get access to this one, but the first one as well. So I figured I'd kind of come on here and say my thoughts about the game, because there seems to be a lot of mixed opinions about the game, which I was kind of surprised with. I thought that the first Alpha Lab left people with a generally favorable opinion of the game, and if anything, I thought 2 kind of made the game better than the first Alpha Lab. But for some people and people more experienced with other fighting games, it kind of left a mixed feeling for them. So I just kind of wanted to talk about my own experience with the first and second Alpha Lab, mainly the second Alpha Lab. And just my feelings about 2XKO in general, because I do think it is going to be probably the next big fighting game. I mean, it's from Riot Games, you know, the people behind League of Legends and Valorant. So we know that it's going to be supported and it's going to be around for a long time. And it is going to be free to play as well. So we know it's going to stick around for quite some time. So I hope that other people get into it and give it a try. I know I'll be making content on the game and getting into it. So without further ado, let's just get into my thoughts about the game. A little bit about me. I don't have much background in fighting games. I think I'll be coming at this as someone that's relatively new. I did play a lot of Mortal Kombat 11 and Mortal Kombat 1, but this is a very different type of fighting game. And then I did, of course, just play a lot of Rebirth of Souls. So that's probably the most similar, but this game is by far the most different fighting game that I've played. I think it's more similar to games like Guilty Gear, but I haven't really played much Guilty Gear, so I wouldn't really be able to tell. But for the people that are you know, super into fighting games and they're using terminology that you might not understand, and if you're someone that's new to fighting games or just like trying out something different, I think this perspective might be a little bit more beneficial to you, just because I'm also coming at it from kind of a new player perspective. So I won't be getting super into the nitty-gritty details, but I'll just kind of be giving an overall view of how the game felt, my likes and dislikes about it, as well as maybe some things that I'm just kind of neutral on. So let's get into it. But before we do, make sure you drop a like on the video if you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I just saw recently that like 99% of my viewers aren't subscribed to the channel, which is understandable. I know I'm a very small channel, so really early on, your support means the absolute world to me. If you guys could help me get to 500 subscribers, I'd really appreciate it. But let's not delay any longer. Let's just start with the things that I like about the game. So first things first, when you boot up the game looks great. I mean, it runs well, it looks good, the colors are very poppy, vibrant, it catches the eye really well. Like everything about it is very like saturated. There's nothing like super gritty or off-putting about the game at all. It has a really unique kind of art style. I think it can, again, be kind of similar to something like Guilty Gear, but it is definitely its own thing. I really like just how the game looks. The menus and everything are really like sleek and you know, minimalistic, but also like enough pop to kind of stand out. So it's simple, but it's colorful. It's nice to look at. I think just immediately when you open the game, that's something that you can see right away. For like a free-to-play game, you would maybe not expect something to be so polished looking, but it being Riot again, maybe you would come to expect that. But straight away, I think the game looks amazing. So getting into the actual game, I think it is easy enough to pick up, and I'll put a big asterisk next to that, and I'll talk about that more in the section of things that I don't like. But in general, when you go to play the game, it is pretty easy to pick up. The tutorials do a really solid job at teaching you the basics and fundamentals of the game. You know, each character has 2 specials, and then those specials have directional inputs to change their properties. You have light, medium, and heavy mechanics as well. tied to different buttons. This is a tag fighter, so you have a button to tag to your other character. You have throws, and so you have all your basics there. It is pretty easy to jump in, pick a character, and say, okay, this is my light, this is my medium, this is my heavy. They made combos kind of easy because you can only combo together heavier attack buttons. So a light will combo into a medium, will combo into a heavy. So you don't have to worry about something as crazy as like strings in Mortal Kombat or something like that, where it's like 1, 2, 1, 4 or something like that. It can go all over the place. This is kind of streamlined as like the combo system goes. Kind of getting into that a little bit. An example of that would be like universal launchers for each of the characters. I noticed that I didn't play all the characters, but most, if not all of them, seem to have a universal launcher with down heavy. So that is kind of like you can do light, medium, heavy into down heavy, and that's going to be like a good combo launcher. And then you can jump into the air, kind of do light, medium, heavy again, and then that's kind of your basic combo route for like 80% of the characters. Again, I didn't play absolutely all of the characters, but that seems to be like a general, okay, I'm just getting into the game, this is how I kind of start a combo. And then building on top of that, if you press down and your tag button, which for me was A on Xbox, you will be able to combo into a tag. So you start as one character, you end a string with down and A, and then you tag to your other character, and you're able to keep the combo going that way. That seems to also be a universal thing, and one of the ways that you can tag to your other character while not giving up the offense. So I like that. It was simple enough to get into as far as like the base mechanics of the game. We'll talk a little bit more about the skill ceiling of the game a little bit later on, but continuing on with things that I like that you can just infinitely rematch people. For some reason, this is not a mechanic or thing in a lot of different fighting games like Guilty Gear. It kind of just completes a set, and then you have to back out, and you don't have the option to just infinitely rematch and rematch and rematch no matter how many games that you guys play. And for me, especially starting off in a game that I'm going to admittedly not be very good at, I like just being able to rematch and rematch and learn a character and just play a lot over time. Either learn that specific matchup, learn against a really good player, just getting my butt kicked, and eventually like figuring out what I'm doing wrong. Because it's a lot more annoying to have to back out after every set and then queue up for a game again against somebody that's using different characters, is of a different skill bracket, So I just like that you can be able to just rematch infinitely in this game once you find a match. And then on top of that as well, I think the avatar customization is a really neat little feature. It's cute, it doesn't really add too much to the game, but this being a live service game is kind of like, that's kind of something I'm neutral on, especially when a lot of it is kind of just the character, like avatar creator. But you can make a pretty cool avatar. You can change the hair, you can change the skin color, the outfit. You have certain unlockables that you can get depending on the characters that you play. Like as you get things for this character, you can put, like, for example, Darius's axe on your back of your avatar. And it's just like a little interesting way to go about like the whole calling card system in a game, like customization like that. The character skins are also pretty interesting on top of that. Like even in this alpha, they had like a free battle pass that you could be filling out. And of course they had a store. And even in that, there were some pretty cool outfits, like a super decked out, armored, like kind of demonic Darius. I don't play League of Legends or anything else that he's from, so I don't really understand the reference, but he did look pretty cool. And then they also had this goofy like pool party one already, so I can tell that they're going to go kind of all over the place with the customization and the skins of this game. And on top of that, they have shaders in different color palettes for the skins too, so there's a lot of customization in this game, and I do appreciate that because it's just that little extra thing that makes a game feel more complete. I don't have a problem with there not being as much customization and them just focusing on the mechanics and the gameplay, but it does just add a little bit more of a fleshed out feeling to the game having that extent of customization. It's cool, it's cute, but it's not really like something that will take the game from like, you know, a C- to like an A+. You know, it's not super important at the end of the day, but it is still just cool to have. Another thing is the fuse system in this game. So after you pick your 2 characters, you'll be able to pick a fuse for the game, which is just kind of like a different mechanic that you can use depending on your team, and it just changes the way that you play the game. I think the recommended one was Double Down, where you can combine your character super moves with each other. So you can do one super and then tag to your other character, do their super, and do a lot of damage. So it was just an easy way to get a lot of damage. But the one that I was going back to was the freestyle one, where you can handshake tag, which is just another type of swapping to your character in the middle of a combo, twice in a combo instead of only once. So just kind of gave you more combo potential, gave you more freedom. And that's what I'm saying with just like the different fuses add a really interesting kind of level to the game, where even if you and your opponents are playing the same exact team, if you choose a different fuse, you'll be playing the game entirely different, because there's even some fuses out there that make it so that you can't even swap to your second character, and it just buffs up your main character a lot, and then your tag just gives them like cameo assists, kind of like Mortal Kombat, which is really interesting that they did that after like the backlash that Mortal Kombat 1 got from their cameos. And if anything, this game just makes me think that Mortal Kombat 1 should have just been a full-on tag fighter, but I digress. I think combos look really cool, especially with that freestyle fuse that I was just talking about. Combos look really clean, really sick, and I think the pacing of them is really good. You know, in a lot of fighting games, it gets hard to discern what moves are being used at what time, especially in a combo. You're just kind of like, okay, I don't know what's happening. This guy's kicking my butt. But something about this game, for the most part, you can tell when like one string ends and then they go into a special, and then they go into another string, and then they go into another special. Like every little thing felt like distinct from the previous thing. So especially notice this with Darius. You know, he was probably the main character that I was using the most, because I like those bigger, slower characters that do a big amount of damage. He like, you know, every time he used his axe or something, it's like, okay, this is a distinct different move than what he was using just a second ago. And I think that makes it easier to break down in my own brain, like when I'm able to break out of things, like when I might have like some frames to do something. It just made the game feel like not super, you know, outside of my like scope. And it didn't just feel like, okay, this guy's just doing a whole bunch of random stuff on me that I don't even quite understand. It felt like section by section, I was able to kind of understand even when I was getting comboed. So I do enjoy a lot about this game. The overall gameplay of it is really nice. Again, it is easy to pick up. So I think that this has the makings to be a really big fighting game. This is probably going to be the next big fighting game that I get into and try to get really good at. But it is not perfect, and I think a lot of the issues that other creators are bringing up are kind of valid, and so I kind of just want to get into that as well. Because I don't think the game is perfect, and a lot of these will just be me kind of nitpicking, or I understand that there's skill issues, because again, this was just an alpha. I maybe put in like 6 hours of playtime in this alpha lab 2, so there's still a lot to learn for me. So I just want that to be clear before I go into the issues that I have with the game, because yes, a lot of them are just going to be like personal things that once I spend more time with the game, obviously will click a little bit more for me. But some of the other ones might be just game-specific things that might feel a little strange or something. But the first one definitely is just a nitpick, is just me kind of lagging behind. But why is it that so many people are already so good at this game? I don't understand. Like for me, I know going from MK11 to MK1, like I kind of started at an advantage. And I was able to like pick it up pretty quickly, but this is like a brand new game, and as far as I can tell, they kind of do specials differently. Instead of having them tied to like A and B, they're tied to like the triggers, which is just a little bit different. But from the videos that I watch, and like there's even some Alpha Lab tournaments, people are already so crazy, and that's a little daunting to me, because it's just like, wow, I barely learned how to string together a string into a launcher into a special, you know, and just play like normal footsies with like grabs and teching and stuff like that. But there's people out here doing such crazy stuff already. And I know obviously it's like, it's going to click at different times for people. Some people are just better mechanically at them. They have more experience with other fighters than I do. But man, it's like, even in the Alpha Lab, I was just getting matched against some people that were just so good. Or maybe they just seemed like they were really good because I was that bad just starting out. But it's like, I played on day 1 of Alpha Lab 2, and it seemed like the people that I was playing against had already been playing for like a month. I just didn't understand that part. But again, that is definitely just a skill issue on my part. Like, once I get better at the game, that won't be as much of an issue for me. I just kind of wonder how it feels like that already, because I definitely didn't feel that way in basically like any other fighting game. You know, the launch window of it, I was playing up against other people that were definitely at the launch window of it. It makes me wonder if this game will have any kind of skill-based matchmaking. I doubt it in like quick play or something, but I'm sure there'll be like a ranked mode where that's implemented as well. So speaking of the different kind of matchmakings, I don't love lobby matchmaking at all. I kind of hate it, not gonna lie. Because when you open up the game, right, it's like you have to search for a lobby to join. And then when you join that lobby, you're in like this little hub area where there's different like arcade cabinet sort of things. And then when you're in that lobby, you then have to search for a match. Then it searches for a match. When it finds a match, you and the other player, as your little avatars in that lobby, both need to walk up to the cabinet and press like, okay, I'm ready. And then it needs to load the match, and then you pick characters, and then it loads into the actual match. That's just so much like walking around and time wasted. It's like, why can't I just search for a match right away? Like, cut all the lobby stuff out. I understand it gives you a chance to look at your avatar, and like, it's cute, and I like that you can change your avatar while you're searching for a game or something if it kind of takes a while. And I do respect the lobby system as a concept, because I do like that you can go over to other people's arcade cabinets and watch them play the game. That is pretty cool. But I do just wish there was a way to just put me in a game, please. Like, I'm not trying to always have to queue for a lobby, queue for a match, wait for someone to walk up to the cabinet, then wait for the game to load, then choose my character, wait for the stage to, you know, it's just a lot of like waiting around. And sometimes, especially with how often in fighting games people are like one and done, you know, I can't tell you how many times people in like Mortal Kombat or something like beat you one match, teabag, and then leave. And then when that would inevitably happen in this game, it's like, okay, back to the lobby, I have to search for a match again. And it just kind of wastes a lot of time. You know, I would rather there just be more time in the match rather than building up to the match. But that, again, is kind of like a smaller thing. I think the major, like the biggest thing that I have a problem with this game is that while the game is easy to pick up, the skill ceiling in the game is astronomically high. Like, it is insane. Like I was just saying before, how some people have already kind of grasped the game more than me, and they're doing a lot. When I say they're doing a lot, they're doing a lot. Like, it's almost too daunting at some points. Again, like, the tutorial does a good job at teaching you these mechanics step by step at a time. But then it's like, I think at some point in the tutorial, it even acknowledges like, yeah, this is a lot of stuff. We understand. But it's just so hard, even when you do the tutorials, to actually now go into a real match and use all of those things in an actual match. I mean, I wrote down some of the things that we have to worry about here. And yes, a lot of these things are universal to fighting games, but there's just a lot. So 2 specials on each character. Those specials have directional inputs for different specials. And then you have air specials as well. So those 2 triggers can have like a left, right special, a down special, an up special, things like that. And then they can be used in the air. So we're already talking about a bunch of different specials just straight off the bat. We have the light, medium, heavy buttons, of course, that seems simple enough, but then some characters have directional light, medium, and heavies that change their properties depending on if you're pressing a movement key with it as well. Like, for example, like I said, like the launcher universally being like down heavy. There's some different characters with like a forward heavy or something like that where it just changes properties. So again, yet another thing that you have to keep track of there. There's, as far as I could tell, 3 different ways to tag in your other character that you have to keep track of, and this is where it gets really confusing for me, because when you just press A, your other character like does a move and then stays on screen for a little bit, but you keep control of your primary character. But if you hold A, that's when you change to your actual character. So there's a lot of gameplay involved with, sometimes you just need to press the button to like do another move to keep the combo going or something, and then other times you need to hold the button to actually swap to your character to keep the combo going. And then sometimes it's a mixture of both. Sometimes you as your primary character need to do a string, press the button so that your other character does a move, then continue playing as your primary character to do some more moves, and then hold A to then switch to your other character to pick up the combo with your other character. So you can already see like that in itself is just like, wow, okay, this is going to take a long time for me. And then on top of that, you have directional throws, which, yeah, you can tech. You have charged heavies, you have push blocks, you have parries, you have get up attacks, you have wall slumps. There's, on top of the different fuses in the game that change how you play, there is a lot. There is just so much that it's so hard to fully grasp your brain around. And then you have different super moves. You have like a tier 1, a tier 2, and then like a super animated special move as well. So there's so much, dude, and I know it's just going to take me so long to wrap my brain around all of it and be able to actually use all of it in an online match. And it just sucks because I feel like so many people are going to grasp that ahead of me and just be like okay with it, and it's just going to take me so long to catch up to them because there's just so much, dude. It is fun to play, and I want to make that the point. It is fun, and again, you can just pick up the basics, like I said, light, medium, heavy, special, like a launcher into a special. You know, you could do basic things like that, but to be able to use all the game's mechanics when they're needed and when it's best, or just remember them all, that's definitely going to take some time, like a lot of time, at least for me. You know, you might pick it up a lot faster than me, but it's going to take me some time. But I want to dedicate the time to this game and get as good as I can with it. So one of the last things, movement felt really weird to me sometimes. The dashing specifically in this game is almost too fast. There was times where I was playing against Ekko, and his backdash is just so insane. There's like no cooldown on when you can dash backwards, and it just made movement feel incredibly inconsistent or strange. It almost felt like you were able to do moves during your backdash or something, or like too soon after moving, or moving is just too fast. And it's also strangely universal. Like, you would expect characters like illaoi and braum and Darius to be slower characters, but for some reason, specifically like the backdash just feels like it's fast for everybody. And it's weird that the backdash feels faster than like the forward dash sometimes. And it just felt like inconsistent. I do think it felt better than the first Alpha Lab. I remember the dashing in that game felt really strange, especially the forward dashing. But the movement just feels weird still. I think the pacing of the game is a lot better in Alpha Lab 2, but I think the combos hit a lot harder. But I do like the pacing of the combos, like I said. But just the actual like neutral feels kind of weird sometimes. The amount of times that people have just backdashed out of a grab for something, like we're like this close together, definitely within grab range, and I throw out a grab and he has like either iframes or the movement just like came out too fast, and now he's suddenly like all the way back here. And for some, like going up against Ekko, that was really frustrating because he can just throw the projectile that like stuns you for a little bit, and it just felt weird. I wouldn't say it was like terrible, or something, and maybe I just need to get used to it, but the movement felt strange at times. Okay, so I think the last thing that I have to say is, out of all the characters so far, Jinx being the newest one, the characters actually surprisingly felt really balanced. However, I do think already I am seeing a little bit of a problem with Yasuo. Maybe I just didn't really learn the matchups very well, but he seems very, very strong. Specifically, his wind wall seems incredibly oppressive. Like, it just completely shuts down all of Jinx's offense, basically being like mostly a zoner. It just stays for so long, and it just eats projectiles, and you just can't do anything. And then if you're playing somebody else and you try to jump over it, he has like the diagonal slash that he can combo out of. So it's just like, he can just stay behind the wall and you just have to wait. There's really not much that you can do against that. Not that I could tell. Maybe you guys could tell me down in the comments if I just like wasn't figuring something out. But Yasuo seems incredibly good. He's by far the character that I saw the most of. And then Illaoi as well, I think is equally maybe as oppressive, but it seems like there's a lot more skill involved with putting the tentacles down and knowing when to use them to get your combos going. So Illaoi felt a lot more balanced that way, because like she had to set up those tentacles. She is a decent bit slower, but Yasuo just felt like really, really powerful. And again, like I only got like 6 hours in the game, and probably like 5 hours of actual like play time. That I wasn't just going through the menus and discovering things about the game. So I understand if it's just like I didn't fully discover how to play the matchup. And again, I was kind of playing mostly Darius and Ekko. So as Darius, I kind of wanted to get in, and he was just always faster than me. And then Ekko, I kind of wanted to stay back and hit him with the projectiles. And when I did get up close, it felt like I was hitting him a lot, but I just wasn't really doing that much damage. So I don't know. I think that could just also be a skill issue, but out of all the characters so far, I think that Yasuo is probably the strongest, but I'm not a professional by any means, so feel free to not take my opinion on that. But he does look pretty cool. I want to play him. He's one of the characters that I didn't really play, just because I tend to not go for the character that everybody else is playing, although I did play a lot of Ekko. So I don't know. But that's about it for my thoughts about the game. I know this was a little bit of a longer kind of rambling video, but if you got access to either the first Alpha Lab or the second Alpha Lab or both, let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts if you haven't gotten access to either of the Alpha Labs and just watching the gameplay. What do you think about the game? Do you think the game's going to succeed? Do you think it needs a lot of work? Do you think it's perfect the way it is? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Help me reach my next milestone of 500 subscribers. That's about it for me, though. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.